Hey guys, it's Roxy with Roxie's Broadway Breakdown. Welcome back to my channel. So, to do or not to do a Shakespearean monologue for your musical theater audition, whether 'tis nobler in the mind, that is the question. As long as a monologue is appropriate to the show you're auditioning for, that really is the question. So, whether you want it to be a Shakespearean monologue or not, that's up to you. I used to go sort of round and round with this with my acting coach. I used to always have monologues prepped and ready to go. I never felt comfortable doing a Shakespearean one for a musical. But, you know, I kept on hand a lot of comedic and dramatic ones, like I say, depending on the show. But Shakespearean ones, I always felt a little awkward with because, one, I felt the Shakespearean one never matched a musical. I never felt that was appropriate for a musical. And two, I felt like a minute-long monologue, Shakespearean monologue, I could never really get into character enough to either do a dialect, and then if I didn't do the dialect, just saying it in my own voice sounded a bit awkward. So, you know, I kept one in my repertoire, but I never really used it. Now, if you're auditioning for a Shakespearean play, then yes, I think you should have quite a few on hand. So, if you are going to keep a Shakespearean or several on hand, if you're auditioning for plays, comedies, other than musicals, then yes. Or if you want to use one for a musical, then yes, you should keep several on hand. And you gotta read the play. You gotta read the play to decide what character you want. And you also have to read the play to know the context of which that monologue is coming from, that character. Because Shakespearean plays, you know, they're so dense and intertwined, all the characters, and you have to know, is this a soliloquy? Is this just a monologue? Like, in what context is this character saying these things? And I wouldn't get roped into the beautiful poetry of the language, meaning if you don't really understand what all this fluid poetic language is saying, then you have to break it down. You know, don't get roped into that iambic pentameter that Shakespeare wrote in, you know, because then you're going to sound kind of sing-songy and almost rhythmic when you speak it. You have to break it down and speak it as if it's your natural tongue, you know, like you're just speaking it as if it's your native conversation that you are having, so that it's really understood and that you know what you're saying, and it's not just like a poem you're reciting. You just have to make it sound very natural and understood, and not just something you're reciting off the top of your head. Give it some meaning and some substance. I would also, Shakespearean wrote so many things that the meaning may not be what you think it means. So if you honestly don't understand a phrase or a word, I would get a Shakespearean dictionary and look those up before you just say, oh yeah, I think it means this. No, really look those terms up so you know what you're saying when you're reciting these monologues and such. There's way too many just monologues to toss out examples like this would be a good one or this would be a good one. So I came up with some characters. I think some really strong characters you might want to go look up. I came up with, you know, some for men and some for women that I think are really great ones. So if you want to go read the play, I kind of sending you in directions of which to go. So I think some of his best characters, I mean, there's so many to choose from. I mean, obviously the usual suspects like Hamlet and Othello, Romeo and Juliet, you know, those, Macbeth, obviously, you know, everybody's heard of those. But I think like Lear, for men, Lear and King Lear, that's obviously one. Iago and Othello, I think Anthony and Cleopatra, Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet, and Benedict in Much Ado About Nothing. I think those are some maybe good starting points that you might not normally think of, but I think those are some good places to start. And then for women, Cordelia in King Lear, and Portia in Merchant of Venice, Beatrice in Much Ado About Nothing, Rosalind in As You Like It, and then Katharina in Taming of the Shrew, which Taming of the Shrew was turned into a musical, Kiss Me Kate. So there you go. There's maybe some starting points if you've never really thought about some Shakespearean monologues. There you go. All right, subscribe to my channel, check out all my other videos, and I'll see you in the next.